r/AskReddit by Redmond ETS. What's the best example of, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it, that you know of? Me. I worked at the same company for 10 years and had an excellent reputation. Some wild stuff went down and all the managers except for me had to be replaced. My reputation was fine at that point. Then we hired this crazy guy who was lying and saying strange things a lot. Then he was sexually inappropriate with a customer. I reported all of this to my boss. This crazy guy made up even bigger and more compelling lies about me. They believed him. I didn't do anything fireable, but they transferred me to a different location. I was told that I needed to shape up to save my job, despite 10 years of maximum raises and promotions and glowing feedback. 2 days later, the guy was fired by HR because a customer reported him for sexual harassment. Nobody said a word to me, no apology, nothing. I quit in January. F*** Office Depot. We had a guy on a super big important call where my boss's boss was speaking, and some guy comes off mute in front of 300 people and says, "Don't get why we gotta be on these stupid fucking calls. They're all just talking out their ass anyway. They're just here to say oh look." And it cut off. Way high up guy that was speaking say, "Darian, guy that was talking trash, finish that sentence for us. What have you got to say?" Silence. "Come on Darian. Don't be shy." More silence. "Okay, moving on." A minister in my hometown died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His congregation didn't even hold a service for him. His family disappeared and within a week it was like he had never existed. Director of a place I worked sent an employee a dong pic as a long shot. Employee was at a party where she promptly showed other people wondering, what the F just happened? He had access to her phone number, but she had never willingly given it out to the director for any social engagements. Obviously, he went through files and found it and thought it was a good idea. The worst part was that it was a picture of someone else's dong that he was claiming to be his. Anyway, he came in after his weekend and, after a brief HR visit, walked out. Oh, his wife worked there too and had just had a baby. The workplace is like high school, so everyone knew what happened about 2 hours after he was walked out. Marriage and career ended in the speed of sending a text. Small big industry, and the news got around fast about the whole ordeal. At the time, the place I worked at was in California, and the place that happened was on the East Coast. It wasn't even a former co-worker who told me the story, but my new manager who had never even worked at my old place. I then asked a mutual friend, my ex-husband, if the rumors were true. He confirmed as he was right next to the employee who received the text and unfortunately saw it with his own eyes. Edit. How did they know it wasn't his? The guy was a larger dude, and the pic he sent with a leg shot was someone vastly more fit. Prince Andrew did a good job of keeping a relatively low public profile for years after his divorce. The work he was assigned to didn't require much TV work. Then, after the Epstein accusations, that interview must have been the most excruciating thing I have ever watched. I imagine he walked away thinking he had done a good job, and yet for everyone that watched it, it was the nail in his coffin. This reminds me of that guy who sold his old company truck to a used car dealer and ended up seeing it in the news with some terrorists in the Middle East driving it. Mounted guns and everything on that thing with his business and his name painted on the side. Great advertising. He was forced to close shop after because of the bad reputation. Sad when you think about it since he didn't deserve it. But great example. The backlash on Will Smith for the slap. My father grew up believing he was an honest, hard-working, and loyal man. While he was absolutely a hard-working man, finding out when I was 21 that he had another house, woman and child 20 minutes down the street that he went to on his frequent business trips dispelled the notion that he was honest and loyal. American Ninja Warrior winner Drew Drexel. After years of training, competing, and coming up short, he finally won in season 11 and became just the third person to ever achieve total victory and win the $1 million prize. Months later, he was charged with child sex crimes. The court case is still ongoing, and he could face years in prison and massive fines. And to state the obvious, he will likely never compete again. How about that lady who tweeted something racist right before a flight, and by the time it landed she was cancelled and fired from her executive job? That took 5 seconds, not 5 minutes. It's got to be a record. It was about going to Africa and not wanting to get AIDS, with a lol chaser. My former boss in politics, who was hugely respected within his party and a secretly recovering alcoholic, got so angry about the opposite party winning the election that he fell off the wagon. And then drunkenly sent an email to what would be his new boss calling him a Mormon sister fucker. He was fired and went on a bender for some time after that. Ended up having to leave the area and move to the East Coast in order to get work. The director of financial aid at the college I worked at posted an ad on Craigslist offering scholarship for sex. When he arrived at the apartment, it was the police who were waiting. His wife worked at that college too. She was pregnant and they had other small children. Different story, same college. A professor rented a room out to a former student and he got busted putting a camera in the dude's shower. 2 counts against him because the guy took a shower with his girlfriend. There was a social media influencer, don't know her name, who was doing quite well with promoting her fitness wear brand. She was even working on deals with companies like Under Armour and Nike. Can't remember the exact brands, but definitely the heavy hitters. She was set to move into the $1 million income bracket. Until a single post. She showed a picture of her and her family eating tacos with the following caption: "We missed Taco Tuesday, so we're having racial slur for Mexicans that starts with W, Wednesday." Instantly cancelled by pretty much everyone, and rightfully so. Brand deals shut down immediately. Followers left in droves. Pretty much killed her career in a single post. There's a professor of chemical engineering at my uni. He's internationally acclaimed, has a very successful lab, has earned countless awards in his field and is a professor, and he wrote a textbook used by many different universities for their chemical engineering programs. A few weeks ago he was caught screwing his dog outside the restroom of a state park near the university. I have no fucking idea why. He told police he just does it to let off steam. He's been fired from the uni, his lab disbanded, and basically his whole career thrown away. All to screw his dog? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. What? Why? I was convinced this had to be made up, but I was wrong. Ashlee Simpson and the lip syncing, jig dancing debacle. I remember hearing somewhere, pretty sure a Todd in the Shadows video, it wasn't the SNL incident by itself that killed her career, it was her Orange Bowl halftime show performance shortly afterwards. Like, she could have survived one of those, but not both a few months apart. Colleen Ballinger. Yikes. Her ukulele apology had the Streisand effect. I'd never heard of her till that. Now I know she's a 35-year-old woman, asking kids for nudes and sending them underwear. Ellen DeGeneres. She had a reputation for years of being kind and down to earth. Until the accusations started coming out that she was a real dong to a lot of people and not kind like she portrayed. Howard Dean. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.